First, Ezell Ford, now LAPD back in the spotlight again after shooting a homeless man on Skid Row. This is the video. It might be disturbing to some folks, so please roll it as well. You will see here where LAPD are responding to this man here. He gets tased and he gets shot. Turn the audio up, please. What you saw there is you saw 4 police officers on top of the man after he had already been tased. Then all of a sudden, guns are drawn and he's shot and killed. This is the response of the LA police chief.
As you can also see, the magazine is dislodged from its resting place. This is also indicative of force used on the weapon. This is an awful tragedy, but the officers took, on the face of it, reasonable steps to avoid it. Had the individual not grabbed the officer's pistol, certainly we would not be having this discussion.
Joining me right now, Najee Ali, community activist there in Los Angeles. Plus, we're still joined by Lauren Victoria Burke, Paul Butler, as well as Erica Totten. Let's go to Najee there. Najee, what is the mood there on the ground in Los Angeles with regards to this shooting?
Good morning, Roland. Thanks for having me again. And right now, everyone is outraged in our community. I had a chance to speak to Reverend Al Sharpton yesterday. I'm serving as his political director for the National Action Network. And this morning, we're organizing a major protest with other community groups demanding justice for this the man we know is African who was shot and murdered by the LAPD down on Skid Row.
Now, the police department, they're saying that the man tried to grab the gun of an officer, and that's why the officers shot and killed him. Is it correct that he had already been tased?
He had already been tased. They said the taser didn't work for some reason. But, Roland, we're not buying the police narrative. We know in L.A. the police always say 2 things to get away with shooting on African-American people. They say, number 1, they were either in fear of their lives, or number 2, the suspect reached for a weapon. We know that area has a large percentage of homeless people with mentally ill. The police know that. They should have known going in that they may have problems dealing with mentally ill persons. So what did the police expect if a confrontation ensued? The police escalated it.
First of all, I want to roll the video again, please. So go ahead and cue that up because and I want you to freeze it when I tell you to. So you see they're going to detain this person in beige. And so in the background, you see the officers on this other man. You see that there are 3 officers, now 4 officers. Freeze it right there. Freeze it right there. So you got 4 officers who are on this man. I want to go to our panel here, Lauren, Erica, and Paul as well, and keep the video there, please. Go back to the video, please. 4 officers. So now here's what I'm trying to understand. You got 4 officers trying to detain one man who had already been tased. Do you have to resort, again, to lethal action to detain one person?
Well, that's the thing. It's like every answer to everything for police in America now is lethal force and death. And we see this in so many cases. We've been seeing this for years and years and years, where their answer to everything is lethal force and killing somebody. So I'm not understanding also, too.
So stop right there. Stop right there. Actually, go back. Go back. Go back. Now, walk me through it. So all of a sudden, you got 4 officers. Right. Then all of a sudden, you see gun drawn, and that's what I'm trying to understand. Right. And you got a man on the ground, and all of a sudden guns come out after 4 on top of him.
Right, well, because he's still a threat, or at least perceived by the officers as a threat. Technically, they did what they were supposed to do. They used non-lethal force. It didn't work. It all depends on whether he actually went for the gun. If he went for the gun, all bets are off. They have the right to use deadly force against him.
Erica?
Well, ultimately,
what comes to my mind is the quote from Dr. Neely Fuller: if you don't understand what white supremacy and what racism is, what it is and how it works, everything else you understand will only confuse you. So a lot of times when we're having these conversations and wondering why this is happening, we know why it's happening. We have to start telling the truth about how black bodies are met with lethal force every time.
Right. And unless we
pull the video back up, I believe one of the officers also is African American. Right. Najee looks like
doesn't matter.
No. I'm just absolutely making that point. And so starting from the top again, so folks who haven't seen it, Najee, to that particular point, do you buy the statement from police that the man was reaching for the officer's weapon?
We don't buy that at all. We're not buying the police narrative. And even if he did reach for the officer's weapons, which I doubt, the fact is the officers knew going into the situation, Roland, this man more than likely was mentally ill. So what did they expect once the confrontation escalated, which we believe the police were at fault in doing so? Anytime you have 4 officers that can't contain one man, that's a problem.
The bottom line of it is we live in a country where it's acceptable for people in police uniforms to kill people and say that they felt threatened, their lives were threatened, and it's okay. That's the era that we live in now.
To kill black people.
Exactly. We live in that era, and we have to figure out a way to change this, because unless we figure out a penalty for cops doing this over and over again, we're going to get the same thing over and over again.
Look, mentally ill people can kill cops or anybody else just like a non-mentally ill person should. I think for our concerns about cases like Garner and Ferguson to be credible, we have to look at these on a case-by-case basis and understand that the police have difficult jobs. Sometimes they are threatened, and when they're threatened, the law allows them to respond proportionally.
The point, though, is when this happens, particularly when this happens to black males, our society deems it acceptable to have somebody who is not armed versus somebody who shoots somebody 8 times over a jaywalking stop, and we're supposed to sit here and act like all this is normal. It's not normal. We live in a country with a certain history. We live in a country that has a history of racism, and it's reflected in these incidents. Happens over and over again. We have to somehow figure out a way to get to the point where we penalize officers for this type of behavior, because there's no reason for somebody to be dead in that situation in L.A. No reason whatsoever.
Hold tight 1 second when we come back. Yeah, Najee, who's that? Najee? Ralph, go ahead.
Yes, very quickly. There are a couple of systemic things they need to look at also. Number one, there is smart technology with weapons. If the Department of Justice really wants to help the country, smart technology would have taken that argument off of the table. The National Institute of Justice can assist in the study to find the appropriate weapon. So when an officer is attempted to be disarmed, the person taking the weapon cannot use it. That technology exists, and the NRA is fighting it. That's where the Department of Justice can do something substantive.
All right. Najee, Ali, I certainly appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. Keep us updated on what's happening with the protests there regarding this shooting, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Folks, coming up next, we will talk about what's in Cleveland, where in response to the Tamir Rice family filing a lawsuit, the city of Cleveland said it was Tamir's fault. He got killed. Now the mayor is apologizing. That's up next right here on News 1 Now.